What is up, everyone? JD here. Hope you're doing well today. Got a new model in from Artisan that I'm excited to check out with you guys, so let's get into it. All right, guys, we have the Artisan Crusoe here. This one is a new premium model from Artisan. You got titanium scales with a titanium pocket clip, steel hardware, and you have a means of tool deployment with a front flipper, tight jimping, which I love to see, very robust thumb studs for opening and deployment, and the build quality on this one is quite good. Had a very interesting design aesthetic to me, and to be completely transparent with this one, Greg over at G-Ball Vision recommended that I check this one out. He knows that I like a knife that fills the hand nicely, that I can get a full purchase on, and this absolutely provides that. Great detent on there. You have a nice drop point blade with S90V as your steel. They have a semi-polished finish on here. Nice sharpening choil. Plunge grind is a little underwhelming though. With that type of plunge grind, I would have loved to, with that type of sharpening choil, I would have loved to see the plunge grind be pulled back to at least about where my nail is stopping. It's a little bit in front of that, stopping right about there. The good thing about this one is I believe, by the looks of it, and we'll do a disassembly video later, it looks like this is a press fit stop pin. So if you wanted to correct that and bring that sharpening tool out ever so slightly, you could with minimal loss to your factory edge. I am able to get a full 4-finger grip on here. I don't hang off the back at all. I fit comfortably in the section that is scalloped for me. And you do have, again, that tight, aggressive jimping here for your thumb to land on, which is a nice spot for it to land on too. And it is fairly comfortable, all except for the pocket clip. The pocket clip does have a little sharp spot on the corner here. I can feel that as soon as I grab the knife, and I can feel a little bit of the edge of this pocket clip while cutting with it. However, it did come with a pretty good factory edge. I did notice some minor imperfections when I took it through the catalog paper on the very initial cut. Brand new knife, never been cut with before. And then when I moved over to the cardboard, it did slice very well. I thought it was going to be a little bit more resistance because it does feel like it's a little bit of a more robust blade stock, but it sliced very well. And it even surprised me on those utility cuts in that pinch grip. I was a little worried again with it being a little bit more of a robust blade, not horrendous, just a little bit more robust than what you've usually seen from a lot of these more slicey knives that have been coming out here as of late. But it performed really well, had a nice tip, held up well. And then it did have what I felt like were the same imperfections that we started the video out with on the cutting at the end. So I did spend a lot of time stropping it up, and the edge started to improve. The steel's very hard, so I do want to spend just a little bit more time trying to get this edge where I want it to be. After this video that you see here, I actually brought it inside and I did a little bit more stropping on my better strop inside, and I started to notice that it was getting there. I just need a little bit more time with it, and I think that's probably because they're using a belt to put this edge on from the factory. They do a good job, and again, it's going to slice through materials, but when you're testing it to see how fine of an edge it is, it was a little bit noticeable that there were some imperfections. No big deal. The access to the lock bar on here is good. It does require a little bit further of a drop. So your brake is here. This is what you see typical on a lot of USA knives, on some Chavez, etc. But because there is no flipper tab, you can get past that if you do like to drop it. If you like to lift up, you just got to remember to go a little bit further. And then if you're sliding over, I think that's probably the normal spot that you'd run into on this particular one. You do have ceramic bearings in the pivot. Very good action. It is a shaker, not a dropper, which I prefer controlled close. I feel like, to me, that's a little bit of a nicer action personally. It is centered, as I mentioned before. I'm going to test to see if the barrel, when we're done, is steel. I'm pretty sure I checked Yeah, steel hardware. I was like, I'm pretty sure I checked that, but let me just double, triple check, make sure. It does have the relief cut on the inside, which makes it for a very clean aesthetic here. I like the actual texturing on here. It looks like it's a diamond texturing that's kind of cross cut, and that does offer some grip there, and I like that. Some of the things that are a little disappointing for me, the big thing is definitely going to be the pocket clip here. Pocket clip has this really sharp edge, and it stands up and sticks out here. So what I would have liked to have seen, and what I'll probably do myself, is I'll probably round it. It looks like for some reason they rounded it on this side, but not on the top. And I don't know if that's because they thought they had enough clearance inside of the scale here to prevent that from making contact. But I think just rounding that and then coming through and just very lightly knocking this edge down would have helped. What would have really been good, in my opinion, because it does afford clearance for it. You have plenty of clearance here. The tip and the blade are way back here. So you could have just brought this down in line with the pivot, and I think that would have really made a huge difference. It does ramp where you see these flat spots at, but it's no different than making that cut here. It just would have been a little bit more shallow here and a little bit higher here, and it would have brought that pocket clip further down away from my palm. So when I'm holding it, it's going to be a trick to show you guys because I'm going to have to turn all the way over. But you see where my pocket is on my hand. Probably could do this left-handed easier. There you go. Where the pocket is versus where the actual hardware is, it's further down, so this would have pushed it down further into the hand, and I know that it would have been more comfortable because in the left hand, obviously the pocket clip's not over there, but in the left hand I can feel how comfortable it is against the palm versus in the right hand I just feel nothing but that pocket clip. I do notice here it feels like it's a little bit of a hard turn down on these three spots, but they chamfered it so it's not super pokey, but I can feel that these stick out, especially here where they not knocked it down, where they did the relief cut for the lock bar. They just need to knock these edges down a little bit because you can kind of feel those scratching a little bit at the hand. But again, when I was doing a lot of cutting with it, the big thing for me was the pocket clip. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons real quick, and then we'll wrap up with final thoughts and impressions. All right, we got the Manix 2 Lightweight out on the table and the QSP Vault on the table as well. And as you can see, this is a full-size knife. There is no mistaking it. I like it. I think it is great. Let's do a couple more, and then we'll grab the scale and check the weight on this one. All right, we have the Concept Sibin out on the table, and we have the WE-XL. And the -XL, being another large knife that I'm currently loving in my inventory, is a great comparison. You can see that the Crusoe is a little bit larger. I also wanted to point out on this particular model the more beefy scales so that you can kind of see how much more you have as far as thickness on the scale. So definitely feeling like a bit of a user. And also, I just wanted to point out where I was talking about as far as positioning. Even with this clip ramping up, because it's built so well and so rounded, it lands in a really great spot where I don't notice it as much, because for me it's more on the softer part of the scale. So I would have loved to seen this in this position. I would have even loved to see this style clip. You see how well they knocked it down, and they got it chamfered and rounded around here so that it's hidden behind the tip and it doesn't even come close to the edges where you're making contact primarily with your hands. That would have been more desirable, in my opinion, than the pocket clip on the Crusoe. Let's go ahead and grab the scale and check the weight on this one. All right, we got the scale out and on here. I think you can see it okay. This one coming in at 5.1, so a little bit closer in weight to my Padre than it is my Hyphen. My Hyphen is like 4.3. Nope, 4 even. I don't know where the 3 came from. So a little bit of a difference between this and the Crusoe, but again, the Crusoe going to be closer in weight, not in size, closer in weight to my Kunwu Padre. So I'm pretty used to something that is a little bit more robust and a little bit more of a user, in my opinion. Let me get the scale out of here. We'll go ahead and wrap it up. All right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap up. Final thoughts and impressions on the Crusoe. I grade on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 is the worst and 10 is the best. Things that I take into consideration are going to be price, performance, ergos, aesthetics, and there's a lot here to take in. I've spent a few days with this one because at first, I'm not going to lie, I was pretty disappointed in the pocket clip. I didn't want to do anything to change it before the review because I did want to cover those things, but I feel like they just totally missed on this pocket clip. I would have, again, put it in line with the pivot more and gotten it down out of the way. I think that by itself would cure a lot of my concerns with the ergos on this one. It's just really sharp. It digs right into the palm when I'm holding it and grabbing onto it. Not even like a super strong grip, but just a secure grip to be able to cut with it for a little while. You can see there where it was leaving a mark, and it has where this is kind of digging in. So that is my big complaint. My minor nitpick is I would like to see them improve those plunge grinds, pull this drop in grind here further back on the knife, and I think you have an absolute home run. Like the aesthetics, I like the design behind this one. It feels like it's meant to be more of a user. It gives me, and I'm not saying that it is trying to copy or emulate that. I think we do that too often when we hear someone compare a knife to another knife that it gives them a sense of. But this gives me vibes of a Sebenza, which is aesthetically a very good looking knife, made from premium materials, built very well, meant to handle more heavy duty, hard use tasks, but still able to do slicing type things. You know, if you want to open a package, it's going to slice it very well. It's going to have the tip to be able to do that. It's not going to require you to kind of wedge it too much to get into the package and do that. So I think that this kind of gives me Sebenza vibes. So I would say if you were ever curious about what a Sebenza would feel like as far as the type of knife that it's going to be for you, this is a great option in the Crusoe. Again, I know the pocket clip is a major knock and it is going to pull down on points for it, but I do plan on actually taking this out and trying to fix it. I may also talk to some friends to see if there's any other workarounds as far as making a custom clip that maybe drops in a little bit further or something like that, that rounds out similar to what I talked about on that WE-XL. Good lock bar access. I like the thumb stud action. It is a little bit awkward because the clip is so far back to use that front flipper, but I feel like once I got used to that front flipper, I was able to use it fine with the thumb. I definitely cannot do any tricks or any rolling with it. It's going to tear my finger up, reach around, forget about it. Just because it is a more beefier knife, which I like, it's a plus for me. It makes it a little bit hard to use that front flipper outside of using the thumb. But thumb deployment, action, and reverse flicking are really, really good. Maybe it could be a little bit more aggressive on those thumb studs. I think that might be the second time I've slipped off of those. But I really like this a ton. I think it's a very good looking knife. I think they did a really good job outside of the pocket clip and the plunge grind. I am actually going to be at a 7.9 on this one. I think that is a very fair score. I think you fix that pocket clip issue, drop it down. That's the only acceptable update to this one for any future versions for me. I don't like where it's at. I don't like how it feels. And you fix that plunge grind, and this is going to rocket into the mid to upper 8s for me, which is a really strong score. But a 7.9 I think is the best that I can do with this. That pocket clip is the main culprit bringing that down. Everything else about this is very positive. Price is awesome. Materials, I love S9EV. Titanium is always going to be a win for me. Action is good. Lock bar access, good. Very positive things here. If you are handy and that pocket clip is something that you feel like you can just, all you got to do is just knock this top piece all the way down, including the corner, just a light sanding with a rotary tool just to knock it down and have it be more rounded is all it really needs to fix that from being sharp to just being kind of this is in the wrong spot and it's annoying. I think that would bump it up a little bit. It might make it, for me, a little bit of higher score, like an 8.182, if once I fix it myself. But as is from the factory, that pocket clip is a huge nuisance. But I like everything else about the knife, which is why it's so disappointing to me. It will stick around for a little while, but I don't know if it'll be a keeper or not. I need to see how I'm going to feel about it once I fix that pocket clip. Let me know, do you think I'm being a little too picky, a little too harsh? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Crusoe. And if you're not interested in this one or into this one, just say hey in the comments. Love to hear from you guys. If you enjoyed the video, a like would be appreciated. Affiliate links down in the description for you guys. It does help the channel when you use those. I really do appreciate it. Special shout out and thanks to my channel members. Love you guys. Hope all of you have a great week. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.